All right, so we are in Alabama inside the F-150, and our temperature has been pretty crazy. So as you can see, it's kind of frozen over here. And about to crank the truck, and it is 2 degrees with a wind chill of -15 right now. So we'll see how well it cranks up. And it didn't even have to crank, which is pretty awesome. So I'm sure the engine will kick back on in a minute. At least I hope it cranked. I might not have had my foot on it all the way. Okay, now it's cranked. So engine kicked on with no problem at all. My foot wasn't on the brake hard enough. And Pro Power on board, something's plugged in the outlet. Do we want to turn it on? And I actually do want to turn that on. All right, so I make sure that our heated seats, all that stuff's off. We can go to Pro Power on board. And right now we're not drawing anything because I haven't plugged it into what we need to. So now I'll get out of the truck and show you guys what's going on out here. But before I do want to show you that we do need to turn the display off. That way there's just not much in the truck running. So it's this little button right here. And hit it again and your display's off. That way there's as little stuff running electricity wise as possible inside of the truck. So I will get out and show you the rest of what's going on. So we are running out of here with an L1430 into our house, and then we have this backup generator. So it's a 25 kW. You think that would be enough to run the house, but there's 3 units at this house, so it is not enough to run them all. And we even have our 5-ton unit in emergency mode, and it's hybrid where it's using gas. And it's still, this wasn't enough to run all 3 units at the same time. So more on that in a minute, but we'll show you what the truck is. So first thing I'm doing is measuring between the 2 hots, and we should get somewhere near 240, which is hard to keep my hand from slipping. There we go. So we're getting 242, 243 volts. And then you can check in between the ground and the hot, and you can check in between. So the ground and the hot, that would be your ground. And then the 2 hots are these 2 opposing ones, so it'd be that one and this one. And then you've got your neutral, so between the neutral and here. So now that I know that's good, what I'm gonna end up doing here is, this is gonna look super weird, and I'm not recommending that any of you guys do any of this because I guess I'm not giving my blessing for anybody to do it. Do it at your own risk. But after you got your power panels apart, you've got your hots coming in from your actual service. Those, if you're ever running your entire house, you have to turn those off, or you'll have current coming from 2 different locations, and it'll be over voltage, there'll be all sorts of problems. So basically the thing I'm gonna use for the truck, this 30 amp here, is going to our pool. And our pool is not winterized, and now that it's -15 degrees wind chill, I just don't want it to freeze. And they're having to do operation something at TVA. We are located about 10 miles from a dam that produces electricity for a lot of the United States. And I guess since the entire United States is part of this freeze, we're having to do rolling blackouts. So right now, I think it's 30-minute intervals, and sometimes they're lasting a little bit longer, which is the reason I've got the big generator that's coming into this guy to power the rest of the house. But kind of getting tired of having to keep coming back out here and turning this guy, the generator, on basically just to get this pool pump. So we're gonna use the F-150 just for the pool pump. We could use it, which is really cool, for our 5-ton unit in emergency mode. Since it is hybrid and it uses gas for heat, we could actually use it for that, which is awesome. So we could heat our main part of our house, but we wouldn't be able to heat the upstairs above this garage. And we also wouldn't be able to heat our external garage at all. And I'm not talking about heating it to 70. I would just like to keep it above freezing. So it's pretty cool to know that the truck would have enough power to do the large 5-ton air conditioner in emergency mode using gas for heat, and it could also do this pool pump without us even having to have the big generator, which is cool. So I'll go ahead and hook up to this. So what I'm gonna end up doing is taking the 2 hots off of this. I'm gonna turn the breaker off first and then take the entire breaker off And then I'm going to take its ground, which is real easy for me to know. It's actually this cable that's coming through here. And I'm gonna hook up the 2 hots in the ground to a connector that we can put into this L1430. Since that pool pump is 220 volts, really glad that this truck is able to do that. So we'll hook it up and turn it back on. So if you're ever using one of the L1430 connectors and you're figuring out how to wire it, we use these for our audio company all the time, so we're very familiar with it. This silver color screw is gonna be your neutral, the green is the ground, the 2 gold will be your hot. If it's not color coded and you bought a very cheap non-Hubble connector, the ones that look like this, that are opposing each other, that look exactly the same size are your 2 hots. Your neutral is gonna be the one that's slightly smaller, and then your ground is going to be the one that has the little rotation on it. Even the cheap, cheesy connectors usually seem to still have the green, but a lot of times all 3 of those are gold. So just remember, neutral is silver, then we have a hot line and a hot line and a ground. So since this unit is 220 going to that pool pump, all we're gonna be using is going to be the 2 gold and the ground. So I'll put this connector together really quickly, hook it up. That way the pool pump isn't off but for a few seconds. We just had another blackout. So I'm gonna go turn on the main generator. That way we can get it back up and going, and then I'll continue this video. All right, so I've got the main power killed over here. Generator is on, so now I can turn this breaker on. And we're back on power, and our pool pump should be working. So this is running off the main generator to get the whole house back up. So in just a second, I will switch it over and use truck for the pool pump. That's a good Paw Patrol, baby girl. So we've got all of our power, everything's back up. The units are up running off that generator, and the pool pump was doing good. So in the just few times that this has happened in between me getting out to get the generator up and going, we can see where it's already frozen a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it hooked up to where the truck does this, where we don't have to worry about it every couple minutes. So right now we're pulling 42 amps on this leg and 25 amps on this leg. So this is the 5-ton unit for the house. The one upstairs is powered, and I have turned off the power for our external garage. Because if I were to turn that on and that unit kicked on, we would just be, that generator couldn't handle it. So as soon as I'm able to measure we've got power back to our mains, we'll let the F-150 start doing its magic for the pool pump. So pool pump is running, not really drawing a ton of power, which is great. This would not be capable with just plain Jane generators because it's set to 220 volts on the pool pump. So I've got it in generator mode. I've got the air turned to low. That way the engine will kick on as little as possible. Right now our engine is not running, and I have the lights turned off. That way it's just as little as possible running on this, except for the pool pump. So I've got the pool pump and a few just battery things charging just in case we do completely lose power and something happens to the other generator. So pretty cool that this thing is working the way it should. Pretty sure this is gonna be really bad after it's all said and done, because I think that was at 19. So, but it's working, and really cool that Ford offers this, because there's not much out there that gives you 220 volts. So really cool, and hopefully we won't have to do this anymore for emergency power stuff. But if we needed to, we could hook up our unit and just run it in emergency heat, and at least have heat in here, which is pretty nice. So just want to give you guys an update and just kind of show you how this thing is working. And if you haven't yet, please hit like and subscribe, and we will keep sending more information this way.